Sometimes love doesn't begin with grand gestures. It starts with two people building a life, side by side. After weeks of hard work, Sam and Lee finally finished their new farmhouse kitchen, only to realize the real beauty lies in the quiet moments that follow, cleaning together, sharing a homemade dinner, and finding warmth in each other's presence under the moonlight. This is a story of tenderness, trust, and the magic of ordinary love. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and let's step into the peaceful world of Sam and Lee's farm together. The golden afternoon sun poured softly over the wide fields, bathing the newly built kitchen in a tender glow. Dust hung lazily in the air, and the scent of fresh wood still lingered from the final touches of construction. Sam stood at the doorway, hands on her hips, surveying the chaos that had taken over her beloved farm. Piles of hay scattered across the yard, empty paint cans resting beside the fence, and muddy footprints leading from the barn to the kitchen. It was beautiful in its own messy way, a sign of hard work and new beginnings. Lee appeared behind her, wiping sweat from his forehead with the back of his arm. "We did it," he said, his voice full of satisfaction and a hint of exhaustion. Sam smiled, turning toward him. "Yes, but now comes the hard part, cleaning it all up." Lee laughed, that deep, warm laugh of his that always made her chest tighten just a little. "Then let's make it fun," he said, grabbing a broom and twirling it like a sword. Sam rolled her eyes but couldn't help laughing. They started from the barn, sweeping away dust and organizing tools, working side by side in perfect rhythm. Every now and then, Lee would sneak a glance at Sam, her hair tied up messily, strands falling over her forehead, her cheeks flushed with effort and sunlight. She looked so alive, so real. He thought about how far they'd come, from strangers brought together by chance to partners who shared sweat, laughter, and unspoken affection. "Hey, you missed a spot," Sam teased, flicking a bit of straw at him. Lee pretended to be offended, then retaliated by splashing her with water from the bucket. She gasped, then burst out laughing, her laughter echoing across the empty fields. The sound was music to him, pure and light. For a moment, the world felt small, safe, and entirely theirs. Hours passed, and as the sun dipped lower, painting the horizon in shades of rose and amber, the farm began to look neat again. The fences were mended, the ground was swept clean, and the new kitchen gleamed like a promise. Sam leaned against the wooden gate, brushing dust from her hands. "It finally looks like home," she murmured. Lee joined her, standing close enough that their shoulders touched. "That's because it is home," he said quietly. Sam turned to look at him. There was something tender in his eyes, something steady, grounding, and kind. She didn't reply, but her heart whispered the words she couldn't say aloud. In that moment, surrounded by the soft hum of crickets and the fading warmth of the day, they both knew the farm wasn't just a place they worked on. It was where their story, their shared dream, had truly begun. By the time twilight settled over the farm, the chaos had given way to calm. The air was cool and fragrant with the scent of freshly watered earth. Sam lit the lamps in the new kitchen, and their golden glow spilled softly across the wooden walls. Everything looked different now, polished, alive, and filled with quiet promise. The counters gleamed under the flicker of light, and the small window framed the darkening sky like a painting. Lee stepped inside, carrying a basket of vegetables from the garden. "Dinner time," he said with a grin, setting it on the table. Sam smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Let's make something simple," she said. "Something that tastes like home." Together, they moved around the kitchen, a rhythm so natural it felt as though they'd done this for years. Sam chopped the fresh pumpkin while Lee kneaded the dough for bread, his sleeves rolled up, his movements steady and sure. The sound of clinking utensils mixed with the faint hum of the night outside. Crickets, the whisper of wind through the trees, the faraway hoot of an owl. As the soup simmered on the stove, the sweet scent of pumpkin, butter, and herbs filled the room. Lee leaned against the counter, watching Sam stir the pot, her face illuminated by the soft glow of the fire. "You know, I don't think I've ever felt this peaceful before," he said. Sam looked up, meeting his gaze. For a heartbeat, neither of them spoke. Then she smiled. That quiet, genuine smile that made him forget the world beyond these walls. They sat down to eat, their laughter mingling with the crackle of the fire. The meal was simple: soup, bread, and a pot of warm tea. Yet it felt like a feast. Every spoonful carried the taste of effort, care, and companionship. Lee raised his cup toward her. "To the new kitchen," he said softly, "and to us." Sam blushed, but she clinked her cup against his. "To us," she echoed. As the meal came to an end, a comfortable silence settled between them. Not empty, but full of unspoken emotions. Lee hesitated for a moment, then took a breath. "Sam," he said, his tone suddenly gentle, uncertain. "Do you mind if I stay tonight? I could help you keep watch over the farm. And honestly, I just don't want to leave yet." Sam froze, her cheeks warming under his gaze. She looked down at her hands, then back at him. The corners of her lips lifted, and she nodded lightly. "If you want to stay, I'd like that," she whispered. Lee's smile was small but sincere, carrying gratitude and something deeper. Night unfolded quietly over the farm, wrapping everything in a silvery calm. The crickets had begun their soft chorus, and the wind brushed gently through the fields, carrying the faint scent of hay and wildflowers. The kitchen lamps had been turned down low, their golden light now replaced by the pale shimmer of moonlight streaming through the window. Sam and Lee lingered by the table, neither of them in a hurried move, as though speaking or standing too quickly might break the fragile spell between them. Lee rose first, taking the empty cups to the sink. "You can rest," he said softly, glancing over his shoulder at Sam. "I'll finish up here." She watched him rinse the dishes, the muscles of his forearms flexing under the dim light, and something in her chest stirred. Not just affection, but trust, safety, the quiet realization that she didn't have to do everything alone anymore. When he turned back, wiping his hands on a towel, their eyes met and stayed. Without a word, they stepped outside together. The night was bright, the moon hanging full and low above the fields. Fireflies flickered over the grass like tiny lanterns. Sam wrapped her arms around herself, feeling the coolness of the breeze, and Lee instinctively reached for her hand. His palm was warm, steady. She didn't pull away. They walked slowly toward the edge of the field, where the view stretched endlessly. A sea of silver grass under a sky jeweled with stars. "It's beautiful," Sam whispered. Lee nodded, his voice low. It is, but it's not the view I'll remember. When she looked at him, he smiled. That soft, unguarded smile that seemed to hold all the gentleness in the world. Her heart fluttered, and for a moment, words failed her. Back inside the house, they sat by the window with a pot of warm tea between them. The air was still, filled only with the sound of the ticking clock and the soft rustle of leaves outside. Sam rested her head lightly on Lee's shoulder. He didn't move, just breathed in sync with her. Slow, quiet, content. In that stillness, time seemed to stretch, melting into something infinite and peaceful. Lee finally spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. I never thought I'd find a place that feels like this. Sam smiled, her eyes half closed. A place? She murmured. Or a person? He chuckled softly, tightening his fingers around hers. Both, he admitted. Outside, the moonlight spilled across the farm, over the barn, the fields, and the new kitchen that now glowed faintly from within. It was a night that asked for no grand declarations, no promises, just the quiet certainty of two souls finding warmth in the same silence. And as Sam drifted off to sleep against his shoulder, Lee looked at her with a tenderness that only grows from love. A love born not of words, but of shared labor, laughter, and the peace of belonging.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các khán giả của kênh Lý Từ Sam Review. Vậy là trong tập phim của chúng ta ngày hôm nay thì sau những giờ phút thu dọn nông trại và trồng trọt trên nông trại rất là vất vả, cảnh sát Ly và Lý Từ Sam đã có giây phút ngồi lại bên nhau ăn cơm tối. Và điều đặc biệt hơn đó chính là cảnh sát Ly đã xin phép Lý Từ Sam cho anh được ở lại qua đêm cùng Lý Từ Sam. Vậy là một câu chuyện tình yêu ngọt ngào lại sắp bắt đầu. Mọi tình tiết hấp dẫn sẽ còn được kể ở các video tiếp theo. Các bạn hãy bấm vào nút đăng ký kênh để nhận được thông báo mới nhất về tập phim sẽ được phát sóng hàng ngày trên kênh Lý Từ Sam nha. Xin cảm ơn và chào. Hẹn gặp lại các bạn vào tập sau. Bye bye.